Asteria.
Asteria. Wow. That's a beautiful name.
It's from my culture.
How did you do that?
It's just a simple shift of weight. Takes practice. But I've been doing this a long time.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my new Wonder Woman 3 video. DC and Warner Brothers just announced that they had fast-tracked the movie, so I'll explain what's going on with that, what's going on with her during the Justice League Snyder cut per Zack Snyder, because that's technically Wonder Woman's next movie that's coming out in March, and about all the crossovers that people have talked about with the other Justice League characters because of when they're going to put Wonder Woman 3 in the timeline. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. There's going to be a bunch of big DC movie stuff happening really soon, mostly because of the Snyder cut, because that's the next big release that they have. We'll do a giveaway for HBO Max subscriptions. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and let me know what you want them to do with Wonder Woman 3. So if you didn't see the news this past weekend, DC and Warner Brothers just announced that because the response they got, the subscriber uptake in HBO Max was so strong, they had fast-tracked Wonder Woman 3. They didn't report numbers, but I think they grew their subscriber base in the course of a couple weeks by almost like 40 or 50%, and almost 60% of all HBO Max subscribers watched Wonder Woman 1984 within the first day or so of it releasing on the platform last week during Christmas. So even though the virus caused this big theatrical shutdown and they didn't get their big wide release, so they wound up losing a little bit of money, they still accomplished whatever their goal was, just in terms of gaining more subscribers for HBO Max. Side note, they also announced that they have a new release strategy. They're going to be releasing 4 movies in theaters starting in 2022, but also in addition to that, 2 movies, 2 smaller, more hardcore movies exclusively on HBO Max every year. They didn't say what all those movies are going to be, but if you remember the whole DC Black Label thing with the Joker movie, that sounds like they would release more movies like that on HBO Max, then do their bigger, more traditional, huge movies in theaters like the Flashpoint movie or Shazam 2, the Black Adam movie, Aquaman 2, all those kinds of movies. The more traditional PG-13, family-friendly movies. But Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot have spoken a lot in the past few weeks about what their plans are for the story of Wonder Woman 3. I think Patty Jenkins has even been talking about Wonder Woman 3 for the past couple of years because Wonder Woman 1984 had been delayed for a while, so the movie has been done for a long time. But the next movie is a really good opportunity to course correct on some of the bigger things most fans had issues with during Wonder Woman 1984. One of the bigger stylistic choices that I think a lot of people were confused by is that if you watch Wonder Woman 1984, it's meant to be as if they made the movie during the 80s with 80s technology, but they're using modern day technology to pull it off. So the very Spider-Man looking way that she swings around seems kind of weird, or the way she runs really fast, the way they visualize that looked kind of weird. But they did that on purpose because they wanted it to look like it would have looked if they would have done a Wonder Woman movie during the 80s. But I think a lot of people just felt like it came off looking a little bit weird and a little bit silly. So I think when they get to Wonder Woman 3, stylistically, they'll try to make it feel like a more traditional superhero movie that you would expect to see in modern day. But they did announce that Wonder Woman 3 will be set in present day, probably the biggest change from the last 2 movies, which are period pieces. Setting it in present day also, as you guessed, allows them to do it as a crossover movie with other big Justice League characters, which has become the standard fare in big movie trilogies at this point. The whole thing with a trilogy is that you have to escalate with each movie. It has to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And sometimes the only way to escalate things in that final movie and change the formula with the last one is to add a huge crossover character or do it as a team-up movie. Gal Gadot was asked a bunch of questions about crossovers during interviews last week, just in general, just in the other DC movies, would you be showing up different places? Fans asked her if she was going to appear in the Black Adam movie because that's just the next DC movie that they're getting ready to film with The Rock. She shares a lot in common with the Shazam characters. Both of their power sets, their mythology, originate from the Greek pantheon of gods. During Wonder Woman 1984, she talks about how there were many, many gods, some of them evil, some whom create powerful magic and items just to mess with humanity. So it's only natural that she would eventually cross over with those characters. But she claimed, at least last week when she was talking about it, that she wasn't planning on showing up in the Black Adam movie specifically, that she just wasn't ready to do a movie as dark as that one right away. They've already announced the Justice Society and possible Henry Cavill Superman cameo for that movie, so I think part of the reason why she's also like, no, I'm not going to be in the Black Adam movie is because they kind of already have their plans locked for who's going to be showing up during that. But they are filming Shazam 2 almost at the same time as the Black Adam movie, and the tone of that movie is actually going to be much closer to the tone of the Wonder Woman movies. Zachary Levi has been talking for the last couple of years about working all of his dark Hollywood magic to bend time and space and get Wonder Woman in the movie. So there's a solid chance that she and Henry Cavill's Superman could cameo during Shazam 2. It's just that they'd also been hyping up a Superman crossover with the Shazamly since the original Shazam post-credit scene. Within the universe, per this scene, Superman has already met the Shazam characters, and at least Billy Batson has met a good chunk of the Justice League. They didn't say when they were going to try and release Wonder Woman 3, they just said that they fast-tracked it. It probably wouldn't come before late 2022 at the earliest, and that's only if they start filming it next year. The Star Wars people, you'll remember, just announced that Patty Jenkins was going to do the next Star Wars movie called Rogue Squadron, and they already announced that the release date for that is going to be Christmas 2023, and Patty Jenkins can't film 2 movies at the same time. None of the news outlets that are reporting this Wonder Woman 3 news address that. Would the Star Wars movie be delayed, or would Wonder Woman 3 come out after that? They say fast track, so it implies that they plan on releasing Wonder Woman 3 before the Star Wars movie. But by the time they will have released Wonder Woman 3, regardless of whether it comes out before or after the Star Wars movie, she'll have already crossed over with the Shazam characters at least once, possibly cameoed in the Flashpoint movie, there are rumors about that, and maybe cameoed in Aquaman 2, because Jason Momoa and pretty much every other Justice League character that's getting their solo movie wants Wonder Woman to cross over with them. So the strongest pitches for the story of Wonder Woman 3 right now are, 1, still do it as a standalone movie, not a huge crossover movie, but you give her a female villain who's also either a god or at least as powerful as Wonder Woman, so you solve the big complaint of there not being enough action scenes in Wonder Woman 1984. Like, her biggest fight with the main antagonist, Maxwell Lord, was a conversation, and he wasn't even really that big of a villain, he was more of an antagonist. Right now, the best options for another major female villain would be people like Cersei, who's another god. A lot of people have been talking about her for a long time. Then you have other characters like Grail, who is basically an evil version of the Wonder Woman concept. Grail is the daughter of an Amazon woman and an evil god, but it just happens to be Darkseid. So she's the daughter of Darkseid, like Wonder Woman is the daughter of Zeus and an Amazon Hippolyta. So Grail winds up being about as powerful as Wonder Woman, but she's not a full god herself. They do have a New Gods movie that's still supposed to be coming up at some point in the future. They haven't put a date on it yet, but Grail is a bit of a stretch as a character just because you kind of have to do a Darkseid movie before you can do Grail. Otherwise, it's just going to be confusing to people who don't read those comics and don't already know who she is. Number 2, you take the team-up route and you do Wonder Woman 3 as something like Wonder Woman versus a character like Black Adam, with some of the Shazam characters like Billy Batson getting cameos. Because Wonder Woman shares a lot in common with the Black Adam character. She's ancient, just like Black Adam, he's 5,000 plus years old. And why is Black Adam such an asshole in present day? He only cares about strength, power, and getting his dead wife and family back. What did Wonder Woman do for the first half of Wonder Woman 1984? Pine over Steve Trevor being dead, then go crazy when she did bring him back with her wish. She accomplished what Black Adam has been trying to do the whole time since he came out of his magical prison. That'll all play out during the Black Adam movie if you're not really familiar with that character. So she just has some common ground that she can speak with him on, like, look, I get it, I do, you want your loved ones back, but you need to move on with your life. And one of his trademark special moves is throwing magical lightning bolts, and she can soak those pretty easily. I don't know if she's ever actually been able to call lightning herself, but during Wonder Woman 1984, she started to replicate some of the other more complex abilities that Zeus had, like making things invisible without having to spell cast. Like, she can kind of cast spells a little bit, use magical abilities without having to speak the words of a spell. So visually, their fights would be pretty cool, but most people seem to want a female villain for Wonder Woman 3. Then number 3, regardless of who they decide the main villain's going to be or what the story is, they should bring back Lynda Carter's Asteria character. They hyped her up so much in that post-credit scene. She's supposed to be their greatest warrior, and she's still out running around the world saving people while this is all going on. Zack Snyder said that Wonder Woman, during the Justice League Snyder Cut, is going to get some crazy fight scenes. So if you're looking for more traditional superhero fare from the Wonder Woman character, we're going to get that with the Justice League Snyder Cut. Of course, I'll be doing videos for all that stuff. Zack Snyder also said that he was going to try and get a limited IMAX theatrical release because the entire movie was filmed in IMAX ratio, that big square true IMAX ratio. He did say that there would be a new Justice League Snyder Cut trailer sometime late January, I believe. He did say that they'd start making more noise about that in 2021, so they'll start promoting that in earnest. You'll start seeing a lot more footage. There's also a bunch of upcoming Disney Plus Marvel shows that I'll be doing videos for every week as well. So as long as you have alerts enabled for my channel, you should see all those videos when I post them. Everyone click here to watch that Wonder Woman 1984 post-credit scene and Easter eggs. And click here for all the Mandalorian, Star Wars, Ahsoka Tano special bonus scenes and footage. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe. I'll see you guys tonight.